Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Uncle Mark. I'm going to be working on a 2003 Chevy Impala. Got a check engine light on. We'll do a quick scan and I'll tell you how I figured out what the problem was. Maybe it's the same problem you're having. Basically, check engine light. It seemed to be running fine, but it was a P0122. See the little engine light at the very right? And this other thing's just saying needs an oil change. So I use a code reader. I'll try and put a link in the description as to this one. Yeah, it works pretty good. Does some basic stuff and a little bit more. And what it told me was the reason why the check engine light was on. And it said right here when I read the codes, it was a stored code. There we go, P0122. Throttle position, so the top there. Pedal position, sensor switch, A circuit low. So the part wasn't that much money, so thought, unless there's a broken wire, it's probably, the problem. It's basically almost like a volume switch. And it tells the computer how far you've pushed the pedal. Basically, it's what it is. So I have to take a couple things off to get at it. So I can't really show you underneath here. We're going to have to move this bracket a little bit, a couple bolts here to get that off. But we're going to need to unhook some wires as well. This stuff is so close together. We'll probably have to move a few more things. Sounds like there's water running. It's actually an air conditioner in the background. I'm going to plug some things. Use the 10mm socket here. Again, I'll try and put a link in the description in case you're looking for some of these tools. Maybe it's the first time you're trying to work on your vehicle, save yourself a couple bucks. And sometimes we can, especially now what mechanics charge for some of their work. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but some of the things that are a little easier we can fix ourselves. So that's a neat little ratchet as well. Call it thumb ratchet, I guess. A little faster for me than using that handheld one. So those two bolts come off. I'm going to put them in a good spot, and I'm just going to bend this out of the way just a little bit. Just enough so that I can get at, basically I'm trying to get at a little screw underneath. So I'll turn you back around here and you'll see where it is. I've got my little Torque T20 screwdriver. You can get also these in like little sockets. Well, they're actually Torque bits. I tried a whole bunch of different things here because there is not much room to get at this. But whatever. Let's get working at it. And these are tight. Like they're coming out kind of tight as well. Maybe they had a little bit of Loctite. All these wires too are in the way, and this connector. Let me see what we can do about that as well. I think I'm going to unplug them. This is what those ones that fit on your socket look like. Again, not much room between all the wires. There's some hoses too. I think they're heater core hoses. Some other things. So this one came out not too bad. Show you a different angle. Still on the same little screw. I'm going to take a little bit of time showing you some of the issues I had because what I say was easy. Well, there's more difficult things you could do. You see what this looks like. But, I don't expect you to just think, oh, it was so simple I could do it blindfolded. Because you can't. Try and unplug this. I think this little clip, the white, comes out. It actually came out a little too far, but what it does is it stops you from being able to press that and unhooking it. It's like a safety. I'm just going to try not to lose that little piece. I'll show you how it goes back together. You can see this little button you push. That little white clip stops. It's like a lock, and that won't happen. I want to do this lower one as well because I need to get in there with either that screwdriver or something. And I don't think I want to try and unhook that hose. It would be nice if this was out of the way, but just gently try and unplug this. Again, not too much room. Just want to just move it just a little bit. Don't want to break it off. Better to be careful. There we go. There, it's off. Sound's out. Now this piece right here, it's just sitting, it's clipped on. So I'm hoping to undo the clip. It's like, oh, I'll show you from the other side. Maybe that could work. I tried a couple times with a finger there and I thought, nah, it's just held in with one bolt. Back to the clip. You see the way that finger works there. Should be able to just kind of pry that a little bit and then pull up. But it was having none of that. I thought, well, just leave it alone already. I need it out of the way though. So I went to plan B. There's another bolt there. So I thought I'll just loosen that a little bit, then this thing can flop around. 10 millimeter again. And I think that's going to be the plan. And it works. I'm just loosening it a little bit, just then it flops around. See, there we go. Now back to getting this little screw out. And man, there's still... my tool is just a little too long or a little too short. It's very annoying. Maybe if I had something with a bend in it. Actually, I'm thinking I do have. Man, I should have used that. I got an extra tool a while back here. Anyway, if we can loosen this, I think you see it's going to work. So let's put you down. And we're kind of on a funny angle too. I'm not really hitting that screw straight. So I don't want to strip it or nothing. Just about out. And I don't want to lose this screw either. There you go. So this is not the part we're replacing. But it sure is dirty. So I think I'm going to clean it up quickly. Maybe that's a good idea for you as well. I just want to get some of the carbon off. I don't necessarily want to spray inside. It's, I guess, a pintle, maybe you'd call it. It either pulls it in or pushes it out, so it stops the circulation of whatever hole it's plugging. And it obviously looks like it has something to do with either, well, with the intake, I guess, so. Kind of carboned up. So there, that's the one we need to get off, which is lower. So back to the same thing, same size. And I've got hoses on the right that are giving me trouble right there. I'm not going to take them off because they have coolant in them. And that'll be another big problem, trying to bleed you out of the coolant later. So like I say, it's just a little too long or a little too short. There's also some metal lines that are actually your fuel lines. And they are pretty much solid, so they don't really move much. Didn't really want to get those out of the way. Now this might get a little boring. I'm going to show you. I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit, but lots of problems trying to get tools in here. Just with all the lines and wires and fuel line and other stuff. Limited room. Top one not too bad to take off. Bottom one's going to be a little tougher. Don't want to drop that either. I don't know what the thread pitch is and all that kind of stuff, so I can't tell you what to use if you lose it. And you don't want to go to GM to get it because they won't have it in stock. I'm not even sure if they can help you with it at all. I don't know if it's available. Probably not anymore. You'd have to go to, you know, an auto parts store or something, and probably help if you brought the old one. Unless you went to a hardware store, maybe you could find out what type of thread it is. It's metric or standard, etc., etc. So this lower one's a tough guy to get at. I tried everything. I tried some of these Torx that were part of a retractable set like this. Couldn't get them in there. Maybe I did get it on here just for a minute, but then of course couldn't turn it enough. So I decided I need more room. So I'm going to plug this and take this intake, rubber intake piece off. So it's just 2 screws Or you could use a little socket. I'm not really sure what size it is. I'm just going to use a screwdriver this time. So I'm going to get that one. Just loosen it enough so that you can take it off. And the top one as well. There's not much room here again. So it's one of those kind of things that it's not going to be easy to get off. But you might be able to loosen it, and then it's going to be a big fight. Hopefully you win. I'm trying to try and pull it towards myself, I guess. Maybe if you got the air filter box out, but there's a lot more stuff to unplug. There you go. Now a little more room for my hands. And when the screw is ready to fall out, I'll be able to get it. So again, I tried, at least loosening it a little bit. Then I used one of these little thumb drives, I guess, or finger drive. It's a ratcheting one. I'll try and put that in the description as well. Use these quite a bit when you have limited room, although this is really limited room. Try an extension and the little thumb drive, maybe that'll help. Or finger drive, whatever they're calling it. Maybe I'll use my little ratchet for now. I like this little ratchet because it's got 1/4 inch and 3/8, one on each side. And it's reversible, of course, so I dropped it into nowhere land. I won't bother showing you that. Probably be in the bloopers, though. Try a little extension this time. Because these were tight coming out, even like once they were loosened off a little bit, it was tight. Of course, I do have a playlist on this car. If you need to learn more or need to do different things on your vehicle. Quite a few videos there, and I'll try and add a few more as things break on it. So just about got her out. This is pretty much it. There comes the little screw. Oh, now I can actually do it by hand. And again, don't want to fall out. So very careful, very patient. Ta-da, it's out. That's basically what it looks like. And the shaft that goes in there is kind of almost like a D shape. It's flat on one side and curved on the other, so it's going to go in only one way, which is good to know when you're trying to position it back in there. So I'm going to try and move this part. Actually, here's what I bought. It's a GM part, supposedly. And here's the new one. I'm just going to spin that around a little bit till I get it close to where it needs to be. And then sit it on the shaft, and then you can turn the housing a little bit. And make it sit in there and start putting the screws back in. You know how that works. Just the reverse of what you did on the other side. Again, you don't want them falling. Tighten them all up. Thanks for sticking with me right to the end here, because there's a couple extra things here you're going to see what's worth watching. Like this one. Let's see if it's just a little bit of WD-40 to lube the seal a little bit. That way it'll go in smooth instead of ripping or binding. And of course those two little torque screws. You can go back in there. Hopefully you don't lose them. This is a little easier to get these ones. I was able to tighten them with a screwdriver. Again, I'll put that in the link in the description of a set of those. They come in handy. I find there's basically only the T20 that I use the most, but probably one's going to cost you as much as a set. I don't want to forget that one as well. That bolt there. And start, oh, and look at this. It unplugged. So that's going to go up in there, right? But it goes down onto the top of the back valve cover. There's a little grommet thing it pops into. So, it's not going to be easy to show you. But important you get that back in there. So you can see here what the end looks like. It's kind of ribbed a little bit. And it just pops into a rubber grommet on the top of the valve cover in the back here. I think it's just below your, that silver piece there is the valve cover. Hopefully yours looks silver still. Might have a lot of oil in it, but it's just below the coil pack. So you can see where these connectors are on the coil pack. So it's just below. It's really hard to see, but if you had a little flashlight, of course I'm trying to show you around some. Oh, there, I see it now. So I'll lighten it up a little bit so you can see the hole it goes into. Right there. It just pops in there. Friction fit. So again, it might be a little easier for you to do it than for me holding a camera in the exact right spot and trying to get it in there. But once you know where the hole is, you can use your hand and pop that piece back in. And once it's in, and it's routed back to the top here, should be okay. Let's try not to move it too much. Note to self. This bracket, put these two back on here as well. Might have to wiggle it and jiggle it a little bit to get them to line up. Just because I kind of bent it a little bit. Snug them up really good. And then once that's done, I think it's going to be time to start plugging in all the electrical connectors that I had unplugged. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, let's do this intake boot or whatever it's called. It's just held in with those two. Now, somebody I had seen online, they claimed, oh, that this could jam against that screw if it was not put in the right spot. I guess that's possible. And they were saying, like, if it went past the screw, then it would hook there and you'd have a full, your gas pedal be stuck to the floor. Just going to spray a little light mist of WD-40 in here just to let it slip on a little easier. The WD-40 will evaporate. Put this side on first, the one that's closest to your air box, where the air filter is. And of course it'll help if you put it the way it's supposed to sit, like right sit up versus upside down. You can see by the clamps how it's supposed to sit. I'll try and sneak this other one in here too. I probably should use just a big screwdriver. I'm just trying to pry the bottom of it so it slips over. I'm going to line it up. And it does actually have lineup marks. Right here, there's two arrows that face each other. Line those two up. And the thing should be sitting where it needs to be. That's going to have to go in that hole right away. So I'll get my screwdriver and I'm going to just tighten it up. Maybe I'll plug this in first. Get these all out. They were all kind of snaked in behind something already. Try and plug the hardest ones in first, which is not this one, but I figured it'll hold the rest of them. I'll tighten up these two clamps. And then start plugging more in. You can't really mix them up. They're all different connectors, which is kind of nice. Somebody was thinking. Well, some have 4, some have 3, some have 2. That's kind of nice. I better not forget to tighten these. Snug them up good. Just so we don't have any vacuum leak or something. And yeah, I guess maybe that could, if that clamp was the wrong way, maybe that could happen. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't put it in the right way anyway, because that's the easiest way for you to screw it tight. The one that's closest to your filter box. And then basically just start plugging these guys in. The lowest one and the hardest ones first. Yeah. Although maybe I should put this top one in first, and then all the wires will kind of be sitting where they need to be. Remember, this got that funny little clip that's kind of a lock tab so that you can't accidentally, or well, it holds it in. So it's locked in place. So I can't push down. Yeah. So that one's in. Chrysler has a lot of those kind of locking tabs just about on everything. These not so much, but that's okay. Let's see which one fits next. There's one way, well, we got that one there. Let's put that one in first. It clicks on, and there's one way at the bottom for this piece we've just replaced, right? That throttle position sensor. Now it's a round one. I think it's got 2 or 3 wires in it. Only goes in one way and it should click in. Let's make sure. Look at all the dirt and stuff like that. 3 wires, I guess. Maybe it's 4. And then this one, and you can see again, they're all different kinds of connectors. Push it until it clicks. There you go. Boy, those are close together, huh? And then lock that one in, push that in, and is that all of them? I'm just going to check and make sure they didn't pop out of that valve cover in the back. I don't think it did. So we're good. Time to start her up, see what happens. And as soon as I started, the check engine light was out. It went out by itself. I thought I was going to have to clear it. It's a bonus, I guess. So in this case, we were able to get rid of the code. Check engine light went off on its own. I was kind of shocked with that as well. Obviously the car sensed it and just turned it off, so that's good. It seems to be running really well now. Plus, when we cleaned that air idle control motor too, that thing that had all the carbon on it, that we had to take off, that wasn't actually a bad thing to actually take off and fix. It was an added bonus, I guess is what we're going to call it. Give me the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, please. It helps YouTube know that I'm doing a good job and that you're enjoying these. You can also subscribe down in the corner if you're one of the few that hasn't. What else? If you have an Impala, well, let's give you a playlist. Above the blue circle, you see the flashing yellow arrow. That'll bring you to a card you can click on, and it'll open up all the videos that I've done on this car. Many more if you haven't snooped around the site. I've worked on so many different other vehicles as well. I've got them all in playlists too. Maybe you've got a second vehicle that is not an Impala. Check it out. Until next time, I'm Unclemarks saying bye-bye from, well, it's supposed to be sunny Manitoba, but, well, the sun isn't doing very well today. Bye-bye. Please subscribe, and you'll get all the notifications. It's easy. The little dog will show you how. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. No. Code went out right away. I didn't even have to turn it off.